It's Wednesday, the 21st of February 2018, and welcome to Navigating Your Day. In Jin Shin Jitsu, safety energy lock number 21 came into the universe meaning profound security or escape from mental bondage. Now, my understanding of that means that the profound security we get when safety energy lock number 21 is in harmony comes from us not being confined within the rigid box that is usually our perception. So when we're really small, we learn how the world works, right? Based on our experiences. And we have a frame of reference. And that frame of reference is basically what we measure everything against. So we either come out there thinking we're amazing, or we come out there thinking we're awful, or we come out there thinking the world is a benevolent place, or we come out there thinking it's a terrible place. Those perceptions are what keep us trapped. And they stop us from expanding into a more full version of who we are. So safety energy lock number 21 helps us to break down those prison walls that keep us trapped in our old perceptions. So if you perceive that you are not worth it, if you perceive that life is unfair, if you perceive that you are unlovable, if you perceive that you've stuffed up and you are filled with guilt and shame, those are the prison walls of your perceptions keeping you trapped. It's very easy for me to say, you know what, really, you should just think positively or see the other side. When you are trapped in those prison walls, that becomes almost impossible. The converse of that is when you think you are absolutely the shit and no one can touch you. That's as much a prison as thinking that you are awful and that no one wants to touch you. So again, wherever we have our infatuations and our resentments about ourselves and about other people, those are the prison walls that keep us trapped from seeing the truth. And when safety energy lock number 21 is in harmony, it helps us to break down those prison walls. Just an aside, safety energy lock number 21 is located on the thumb, all right? And you can hold safety energy lock number 21 like this, and you can hold it together with safety energy lock number 22. Now, doing this for 10 minutes today is not going to shift your perceptions. It's not going to get you out of the trap that is the prison of your mind. But maybe holding your thumb for 20 minutes every day for 6 months or a year will shift your perceptions. Now, again, I hear you saying, oh, for God's sake, I don't have a year. I don't have that much time. Well, actually, I'm 47 and I'm still trapped by my perceptions. And I have a fair understanding of how this stuff works. So if I held my thumb for 20 minutes every day for 6 months, what have I got to lose? First thing is, it'll help me harmonize my worry and anxiety. It'll help me harmonize my digestion. It'll help me bring my heart and my mind into balance daily as I do that. A little bit more every day, so probably won't really notice it. But you know what? In 6 months' time, what have I got to lose? I'll have got those daily benefits. And yes, if my perception hasn't shifted, well, then it hasn't shifted. It's a bit like saving money. People always say they don't have enough money to save. Well, you know what? If you saved 100 Rand a month, at the end of 5 months, if you discovered, oh my God, I'm now 500 Rand in debt, the worst thing that could happen is you'd go to the bank, take the 500 Rand and settle the debt. The worst thing that can happen when you save is that you'll have some money in the bank that you realize that you actually need. The worst thing that can happen when you work on yourself is you get some benefits every single day. Anyway, okay, not going to ramble, otherwise this is going to go on forever. So safety energy lock number 21, you can open by holding 21 and 22, which is here under the collarbone. I'm going to speak about that tomorrow. So 22 means complete, and this happens to be the first step of what we call the stomach organ function energy flow. And so we help to break down the prisons of our mental bondage, and we realize that everything is complete and that we are enough, and that makes us happy and content wherever we are, which is associated with safety energy lock number 22, which is tomorrow's story. So we can also hold the thumb, of course, to harmonize safety energy lock number 21. But I get ahead of myself. So we've got the 3 from the 21, which is a fire number. We've got the 2 2s, which are water numbers, which means that today we have the opportunity to have the balance between the feeling and the emotion and the creativity and the drive of the 3. So those are diametrically opposed elements, and so you might find that you are driving too much, that you are ignoring your emotion, that you are not actually maintaining the balance, and that you're going sort of too hell for leather. Or you might find that you are being overwhelmed by your emotions and you're feeling conflicted because you think you should be moving faster. If you're having a surfeit of emotion, my advice to you would be to make some quiet time for yourself and just allow yourself to feel them, because generally that's when they come in like tides and they recede again. The hero today is the 7. So the 7 is the idealist. The 7 is the road less traveled. the person who takes the road less traveled. They're independent. 7 in this position particularly is about independence. It's about making decisions for yourself. It's about choosing which road you want to follow, not because someone else told you to do it, not because that's where everyone else is going, because that's the one that you want to go on. And 7s are the spiritual seekers. So all numbers have a spiritual aspect. Numbers are not spiritual or unspiritual, but 7s tend to look for spiritual security, and so they are intrigued by the laws of the universe, and they have a deep connection to themselves, and they are rejuvenated by nature, because that's the place they go in order to connect to who they really are. So spending some time in nature today, if you're feeling completely overwhelmed, too many things to do on your to-do list, or totally emotional, would be a really good idea. The villain today is the 1. So the 1 is that critical voice in your head, I'm afraid. The 1 is the one that's going to tell you that actually, you know what, you've actually just, you've caused so much shit in your life, you don't deserve to be loved. That's what the 1 does. The 1 is you're too old, you're too fat, you're too ugly, you're not pretty enough, you're not well enough educated, you're too stupid, you're not worth loving, you're basically just a waste of skin. That's what the 1 does. It's the critical voice in your head. Now, that critical voice in your head has an important part to play. But when you believe it and you allow it to run the show, then it tends to railroad you and stops you from expanding into the best version of yourself. That critical voice in your head, you can entertain it and you can listen to it. And then when you've finished listening to it, then you can actually decide whether you want to keep it or not, and you can escort it out. Just like you would somebody who came into your home, was belligerent and abusive. You could choose to take it, which means that person would then actually set the rules in your home. Or you could decide you don't want that person there. So you could ask them to leave, and if they didn't leave, you could get some muscle in to get them out, your armed response or the police or your next door neighbor with a black belt or whatever, baseball bat. So you don't have to entertain the critical voice in your head just because it sounds exactly like you, because it is only a part of you. And so one of the ways to get it to shut up is to ask yourself, is what it's saying true? Now, the critical voice will go, well, of course it's true. Well, could there be a different story? Is it possible that there could be a different story? Well, of course, there could always be a different story. So the minute you ask yourself that question, you create that little gap where you stop the critical voice. And that's when you get to choose whether you keep it or don't keep it. So you can harmonize this, and you can decrease the anxiety that's caused by the critical voice by holding safety interlock number 21 and safety interlock number 22, or you can hold your thumb. When you hold the thumb, you harmonize the stomach and spleen organ function energies, you bring the thinking and the feeling into balance, and you harmonize the attitude of worry and anxiety. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow.